Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. So basically, what happened was you and I, Chris Connor, we got into a debate as well on X about, and I covered it a bit on the show about how, Jacob's injuries kayfabe, man. They just, like, maybe he's a little banged up. Maybe he's a little banged up or something, but the whole boot and all of that, like, they just couldn't have Roman return and then collide with fucking Jacob. Like, that's what it was. So then Dave here's what I had to say about it, putting myself over. But for real, like, come on. I'm saying this stuff. I'm ranting and raving. Dave takes it to the next level and says, they're keeping them as far apart as they can right now so that they don't touch because they can't touch forever. And he makes it, I have it somewhere, but he agrees, though, WWE don't want Fatu and Roman Reigns together right now so that Fatu doesn't have to sell big for him, or vice versa, which he left out, which I felt was true. But just, hey, man, you guys know it. When it comes to this bloodline story, I'm never going to fantasy mark book it. Nobody will better than they're telling it and doing it. So I was like, hey, man, you can't have Roman return to Jacob. And I'm not saying keep them away forever, but at that moment in time, you couldn't have Jacob just like selling for Roman and shit. So they did the leg thing. So now everybody runs with it. Dave goes, they're keeping them far away from each other. The plans are, he goes in on it. I think I have it down here. He talks about, let's see. He had a quote on it. I believe, they're basically trying to have Jacob Fatu completely avoid Roman Reigns. Now, I never said that shit. I was like, because when they do collide, it's going to be monstrous. And he's going to be the difference maker to where Roman is beating the... Right? So, guys, at fucking SummerSlam, what happened? Roman beats them down. SmackDown, what happens? Roman beats them down. This last SmackDown, what happens? Jacob's the difference maker, exactly as I called it, exactly as I said. And now people are going to have to come help Roman. So I never gave a timeline on that, but it appears we're right. So Dave is like, everyone has to sell for Roman Reigns, and they want to keep Jacob Fatu special by not bumping around for Roman. Now, that's not that dumb of a thing to say, but he goes, he's going to be gone when Roman Reigns is around until whenever the time is right to hook them up. Well, it was a week later, so Dave's making it seem like they're keeping them far and wide, and this is the idea backstage. And it's like everything he says about WWE, Triple H goes out of his way to prove wrong. It's hilarious. And he goes, that's the situation. I can't say he's not hurt, but everything that's happening was planned to happen. Because he's not hurt. I can say that as far as avoiding these two locking up for now until later when they will lock up. I think they want Roman with Solo first, then Jacob after that. No, dude. Roman is going to have to scratch and claw to get Solo one-on-one. We're going to have faction warfare. We're going to see him have to fight Tama one-on-one. He's going to fight everybody before he actually gets to Solo. And I could actually see Roman being the first guy to give Jacob a loss. I could see that as well. I could also see Jacob pinning Roman in like a tag match or some sort of thing like that. But yeah, dude, pretty much, I don't know. Like Meltzer took an L for this. It aged unbearably bad because this is why. He started with what was correct. They need to keep them apart. Okay, that's correct, Dave. And then he said something that's also correct. Hey, he's not really hurt. He's probably not even really hurt, but I'm not going to say he's not. But then this is what Dave does. Then he starts fantasy mark booking it all, and then he gets it completely wrong because now he's making up shit that he was told or that he heard. That's not true. He just started fantasy mark booking it all, and then that's where it went wrong. And that's the separation. People like myself, not to even make it about me or anyone else, but a lot of other people go, here's my fantasy mark booking, here's what we know. Dave just wanted to act like his fantasy mark booking was the end all be all truth. Jacob comes in wearing a boot, and it only makes him seem more badass on SmackDown that he's literally sprinting top speed doing moves wearing a boot. It just made him seem really badass and cool. Chris, I want your thoughts on all of that ending to SmackDown and basically everything I was just babbling about.
All right. Well, there's just a lot to take in.
Yes.
Is Jacob Fatu hurt? Yes. Is he injured? Yeah, that's the $1 million question. Look, he has the boot on, so I think there is something wrong. Is it serious enough where he can't wrestle? Who knows? I mean, I think they're treating it very with kid gloves. We saw him run in, but there weren't any high flying moves. There weren't any moonsaults. There weren't any, when they did the power bomb, it was an assisted power bomb. So it was all three guys. He isn't putting a lot of weight on it if he can help it. So as I said, who knows? As I've talked to a lot of guys who, when they have fought, it's always been a big thing here is if you are hurt, you're hurt. But if you're injured, that's a whole different story. If you're hurt, you power through it. And there's been stories of guys who have wrestled with torn ACLs, with dislocated shoulders, and they'll find ways to just suck it up until they can find a way to either heal or pop back in place. Look at Seth Rollins and his back. As I said, I think it'll be interesting to see what goes on the next couple of weeks. If we don't see more of Fatu wrestling, that means it's something a little more serious than we originally thought. It's not just, okay, Fabe, he landed, he's acting. It's like, this might be a little bit more serious. But for now, we're all just speculating. I think it is. I think he's going to power through it. I think they're going to treat it with kid gloves. And it's basically like, well, you're whistling past a graveyard and hoping that this thing sort of heals on its own without surgery or rehab. And it's just like, well, it's a bone bruise and it goes away with just rest and, recovery. Lots of things.
For the folks in the audience tonight, what I want you to take away from my little breakdown, because there's not much more I can say. Like, it is what it is. Everyone's cooking.
Your breakdown is Meltzer's wrong. You're going to do a slap fight. You want to take off the gloves, and you want to start slapping around. That's what you want to do. I know you're trying to be like every Canadian, to try to be very nice and polite. Just let it go, Phil. Let it go. Just grab the glove, walk up to go. I challenge you to a duel, sir, and just start slapping around with the right hand.
I would never do that.
Backhand. Yes, you can. I know you want to.
I could, but I wouldn't. Why not? Here's the thing. Because he's an old man, dude. He's old as shit. He doesn't even know. But here's the thing. I just want you guys to take this away from it. It's when Dave started fantasy mark booking and then trying to claim that his make-believe shit was also facts. That's where the disconnect happens. It's every time. So just notice that, right? Because you can't point it out every time. I'll go insane doing it, but that's what it is. He's right about maybe he's probably not hurt, but he starts fantasy mark booking. They're going to keep him away until the time is right. And it's like, well, yeah, obviously, but the time is right could be in a week, 2 weeks, just based on the return, what we know, because we saw it. We saw the return. I'm speaking in hindsight, right? I'm speaking based off what I fucking saw. Roman came back. He had to beat everyone up. Jacob's been killing everyone for weeks. He can't beat up Roman. Roman can't beat him up for this week or next, whatever. But this is where Dave's shit always ages badly, because he thinks his fantasy shit is true. And now I don't know what happened here, but we're going to play literally another flute. That's right. Because Dave goes even dumber, dude. He gets even dumber. And as the title indicates, Dave Meltzer's a lying scumbag. Now, this is where it gets in a scumbag territory. Now, I want to take you guys back not long ago when Dave Meltzer did something similar when in regards to Pat McAfee, when they did the little Wyatt Six thing, and then, Pat's not on TV. And Dave Meltzer just fantasy mark books it and goes out on a limb, whereas most rational people said, okay, we'll wait and see why McAfee wasn't on TV if it had something to do with Bray or whatever. Dave just goes out and says, it's because the Wyatt stuff, it's what it is. And then McAfee makes a statement saying, oh, my father-in-law passed away, or mother-in-law, and again, our condolences for that. So this isn't just like a one-time thing, right? I bring that up to remind you guys, this was only like a couple months ago he botched that. Okay, now when it comes to one half of the Wild Samoans, Afa, R.I.P. Sika, who recently passed away as well. Afa just passed away. Our deepest condolences here from the PWT universe to the Anawai family. Fatu, everyone, the Tongans, all the bloodline. All of our best wishes with you guys and your families, of course. But Dave goes out. So Afa's in the hospital, right? And Dave goes out and just tweets it out. Afa Anawai just passed away. Very sorry to hear. Sympathies to the family. What a rough period for that family. Okay. PW Insider, shout them out. So they actually do diligence as far as I'm concerned. Afa the Wild Samoan update. 9 minutes. Okay, so that Dave Meltzer tweets that out 16 minutes ago. Let's just say 9 minutes ago. Here's an update. This update says he's not passed away. And his daughter, Afa's daughter, I believe, made like a statement being like angry and emotional. Like, fuck you guys reporting my dad's dead. He's not dead. And we fucking are hoping he pulls through. And then he passes away. So imagine you're going through all that. And you got this fucking, the best guys, Tony Khan. You got this fucking tongue out.
Best guys, Tony Khan.
Fucking goofball putting this shit out. Now I'm upset, if you guys can't tell. This upsets me. Because imagine you're that family. You're going through this shit. What a rough period for that family, Brian. This guy's tweeting the shit out. All the fucking sickos are, man, did you hear? Well, it gets spread around before we even know. And that's the thing. I saw Dave's shit first as well. I saw it. And I didn't react right away. Whenever someone posts like this celebrity or wrestler or anyone passes away, I never bite on it right away. Because in the past, I've bitten on it just as like a civilian, just as like someone you guys don't listen to, a regular dude. I've bitten on things like that. We all do it because these fake things get spread around on the internet. And especially if Dave says something, you can't trust it. So PW Insider corrects the record. Dave comes out and goes, a correction. Afa has not passed away. He is battling. No apology. No, I'm sorry. No fucking, listen, I the information I was given was whatever. You fucking mark. This guy just talks out of his ass, says a lie openly, like didn't check with anybody. Isn't this supposed to be a journalist? Like, or do we give Dave the benefit of the doubt? You guys know your boy Phil. Like, do his insiders just fucking lie to him and laugh at him and think he's a stooge? Like, what is it to where he's wrong and just to the point where it's disgusting? Like, it's now just at the point where it's just we're crossing over into like you're affecting people's lives, bro. You're saying this shit, putting that juju out there. They're all in the room hoping he pulls through, and you're just like putting shit out there. I don't fucking know. This is disgusting. I have other people covering it as well. Chris Connor, I would like your thoughts on this incredible botch. And then I have some other people's comments on it. And there's other dirt sheets saying like wrestling. I don't want to call someone out that isn't the right one, but there's like a big time AEW wrestling features or one of these ones. Right. And they went out publicly and were like, we will no longer refer to Dave or cite Dave or whatever, because they regurgitate the shit too for clicks, and it gets fucking, they look stupid and they end up stepping in shit, and the backlash, it's not worth it. It affects people to where like his daughter's got to go publicly like, man, hey Dirty, shut the fuck up. Like, no, guys, stop saying this. Crazy, man. So yeah, Chris, I want your thoughts on this. Basically, this epic botch, the biggest botch of all time for Dave Meltzer.
I mean, are we surprised at this point, Vo? I mean, Dave Meltzer is sort of like the guy you remember like F. Lee Bailey, where at one point he's like, oh my God, that was a great lawyer. Vince like, oh God, this guy's like just a clown show. That is Meltzer. I mean, you look at Meltzer, you try to remember like at what point he was supposedly a legit reporter. And now he's just the guy that's like, oh, Meltzer reported it. Chuckle, laugh, Baghdad Bob, Tony Khan's sort of little buddy. Our friend Marvin, a movie monster, makes fun of him. I mean, at this point, it's like, if anybody associate Dave Meltzer, you're like, oh God, this is just why?
It's fucking embarrassing, man, and it's a disgrace.
That's why I want to know, when will you go up? And I said, forehand, backhand, just take off the glove and just slap him. He's calling you out. He is mocking you, sir. I understand there's that Canadian in you that just says, no, I got to be
Hey, man, Canadians fight, bro. We'll fucking throw down. That's
no, you're not. You're too polite. It's not like Americans will just walk up and deck the guy. But you Canadians, no, we can't. We're polite. So I'm saying,
we grow up in the woods.
You're inter-American.
We're in the mountains and shit, bro. We're in igloos, all right? You guys know. But David Scheer, a guy who may have a greater disdain for Dave Meltzer than myself, Dave Scherer, pardon me, friend of the show, great guy, never met him, says, if you ask why I think Uncle Dave is a hack piece of shit, here's why. What decent person reports someone died without confirming it? God, it's such a fucking botch, man. It honestly makes me sick.
Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
A piece of shit named Dave Meltzer. Fuck you, Dave. You are human feces. And I'm sorry, YouTube, but come on. Don't put the little yellow thing on my shit and limit my ads because I'm swearing so much. This guy deserves it, man. This is come on. I'm not one of these canceled dudes. Oh, we got to cancel people. But this shit is getting cancelable to me where I'm we need to everyone ignore this guy. But no, I want Dave to keep stepping on rakes, Sideshow Bob style. And because I'm going to keep laughing at his ass. And I'm going to keep making fun of this human feces, as Dave Scheer eloquently put it. Wrestle Features, I believe. It was a big time AEW. They love AEW. They're anti-Fed, you can tell. And they flat out were we will no longer cover Dave Meltzer whatsoever. And which is good for them. I applaud them for that. And the biggest problem with Meltzer, Sideshow Dave, besides... thank you, George, for that line. Besides being an utter
liar,
the biggest problem with him is he speaks out of ignorance. Okay, now what's ignorance, Phil? Ignorance is when you it's not even necessarily a negative thing to be ignorant about something, but it's just to be ignorant or to have ignorance is when you're speaking on stuff that you don't know about, but you're confidently speaking about the shit. You know what I mean? That's ignorant to do. So this is why, you'll never see me dive into topics that aren't I just know wrestling, so I talk about wrestling with you guys. You know what I mean? So we could talk about movies and writing and shit. I do that for work all day, so that's not that's not my cup of tea when I'm here doing this side thing, doing what my passion is. I love pro wrestling, So, and I'm not saying you can still be passionate about something and be ignorant about stuff related to that topic as well, but Dave just wallows in ignorance is that's the through line here of this segment. And AEW Neckbeards compiled this. So Meltzer completely lying, being ignorant about Jacob Fatu and Roman, maybe not completely lying, but speaking out of ignorance. He starts fantasy mark booking, adding his own shit. He's ignorant. I'm ignorant too. I don't know if he's really hurt. You know what I mean? So, but he wants to act on that and be ignorant about shit. And then with Afa, ignorance, didn't do his diligence, doesn't apologize, speaking about shit he doesn't even know, putting turmoil on the family, stress, distress. He could get fucking sued for this stuff. That's just crazy. You start suing people, okay? I'll sue you. No, they do a lot of that in America too, okay? We're talking about America versus Canada. People don't get sued as much around here, okay? But anyways, Dave Meltzer goes out and he has the audacity, dude, to respond to someone on X. Someone, Beagleman 2020 says, given the Olympics, bullshit. Why does Raw and Sci-Fi beat the Olympics? Because they did. And Meltzer goes, please, no ignorance today. I'm doing a blocking for Ignorance Day. It's you're the most ignorant motherfucker there is. So he's blocking people for being ignorant about Raw doing well in the ratings. So Meltzer tweets out, Dynamite did 622K, 0.19 expected range given the Olympics. So when this guy goes, oh man, given the Olympics bullshit, why does Raw and Sci-Fi beat the Olympics then? You're using the Olympics as an excuse. And then he's going, please, no ignorance today. I'm blocking for ignorance. It's like, Dave, I don't know. He's just a piece of shit. The problem is, too, is that he thinks he's smarter than other people. The dumbest fucking people are the people who think they're smarter than everyone else. Always, dude, because they expose themselves. The Wrestling Observer, you'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Dude, you're right. Maybe at the literal scum and villainy cantina, but yeah. That's what they should change the name of the Wrestling Observer to. But you're absolutely right, man. I think this is why Alvarez is starting to push it. Like, imagine you're Alvarez and your name's attached to all this. Like, it's humiliating at this point. It's got to be, I don't know. I'd be distancing myself at all costs. But Dave Meltzer. So after mind-bogglingly lying and calling people out for ignorance, even though he's the most ignorant motherfucker, and thank you, George Captor, for this one, tags me in this screen grab. And guys, if you're going to tag me in Meltzer shit, make sure you screen grab it. I'm blocked. I'm ignorant, I guess. So I'm not allowed to see the news or follow stuff. So anyways, Dave Meltzer responds to this Jim Valley. Wrestlers no longer have to look like bodybuilders. They come in all shapes and sizes. They always have, but it definitely helps to keep your body in shape. There's clearly a difference. Also, just being in shape is healthy for you and stuff. And I'm not knocking anybody who isn't, man. Do your thing. Be happy. But what I'm saying is, when the job is like, hey, I'm this big burly guy who fucks people up, that's what it's supposed to be like, you know? We'll take the heavyweights in the UFC. There's a reason they all look like Roy Nelsons now for the most, and they're all mostly chunkier dudes going in there because USADA and all that. The drug testing eliminated, right? But the heavyweight division's also been less exciting. So there's a reason for that. Now, I'm not saying do needle steroids in your ass. We've covered it on the show, though. You can healthily do like steroids. The whole problem with drug testing, not problem, but like there's stuff you can go into Popeyes, buy over the counter that'll get you fucking swolled up and jacked. That help you anyways. You got to put work in. That's how you do that. But you can do that where you'll fail a drug test if you're in like a professional sporting. So it's not like steroids aren't like it used to be in the 80s and stuff. So I'm not saying, yeah, go to WWE and get juicy. But when Gunther shapes up and then Meltzer criticizes him and goes, oh, he just looks like everyone else. And it's like, man, you're hating on this dude for like getting the healthiest he's ever been. Look up Jacob Fatu. Are you going to hate on a man who like got hit? Because, dude, with Fatu, to me, in my mind, I went, he's in a part of his career where he's already given a lot of his body to the business. And by the time he gets to WWE, they're just going to have him doing the slow style. He shows up and he's on that Tomatonga diet and he's like faster than he's like faster than I remember him. He's like, can jump higher. He's a freak now. And it's like, you can never hate on people for like doing that, bro. I don't know why. I don't know. It triggers Dave. He's always hating on people. I don't know if because he's like he's always working out, but I don't know. So Meltzer goes, it boggles my mind people don't get Ishii. No, we get him, bro. It's just that he's an old legend where when he's no-selling the world champion Swerve Strickland, it fucking sucks and is dumb and doesn't make sense. And it buries everyone, okay? So we get it, bro. But like, and also, you can't knock the people who don't get it, who don't watch New Japan 10 and 15 years ago, Dave. Jesus. Incredible seller. Watch people post no-sell clips and miss entirely what I said. Yeah, Dave, so this is the argument with Cassidy. Yes, if you can do things incredibly well, then it pisses people off when you do them poorly because it means you know how to do the thing but don't do the thing. Now, I'm okay with people with gimmicks like Orange Cassidy. I am. It's just the way they've been booked and presented and utilized and featured as like these serious competitors. No, it's not supposed to be that way. So your world champion shouldn't be on Collision being no-sold by Ishii. What should happen is Ishii should come in being presented for weeks as like, oh, this New Japan legend, and then fucking Swerve just beats him. And then you might be like, well, what does that do for New Japan? Well, nothing, because Ishii's not a main guy in fucking New Japan either. Like, that's the thing, dude. So anyways, Dave goes, timing like you wouldn't believe. If there was an art form for the term knowing when to do what, he's Van Gogh.
Shut up, bitch.
Meltzer just called him Van Gogh, dude. That's why anybody don't take Dave to court. They're gonna, dude. This is what I said about the whole Logan Paul boxer controversy with the Olympic stuff. If she sues him and wins, bro, all these IWC accounts are about to start disappearing, because they talk way more shit than that about people without facts, dude. And it's like, I mean, if this sets a precedent of that's what a cyber attack is, dude, these fucking IWC people are getting sued left, right, and center. There's no such thing as a smart mark because we're all dumb as fuck. Oh my God, that is
Dummy. Yeah.
Oh, that is so good. Oh my God, that's such a good fucking comment. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Shop smart, shop S smart, Phil S Marks. You know what it is, man. We're all marks, dude. It's funny too when you get comment like people like, imagine you just talking about wrestling. It's like, imagine you go in a wrestling video and then get mad about me getting mad about wrestling. Like, what the fuck? It's like inception of silliness. But yeah, dude, we're all marks. So it's
So when's the fight gonna happen? I want to know, when will there be a Phil Marks versus Dave fight? Just you walk up, you take off the glove, you slap him, and say,
no, it's not going to go down that way. You have this weird fantasy. You have this weird fantasy where we're going to like duel, or like I walk around wearing gloves and I'm going to like duel them and like I duel you at 10 paces. No, dude, no.
Yes.
If it ever went down, it would be...
because I can see the blood is boiling. You're getting angry for a Canadian, which I never thought is possible.
Dude.
So the next time you go to some pro wrestling event, you see Dave Meltzer there, you just walk over to him. You give him just like the forehand, the backhand, like the, tennis, tennis golf slap and go, hey, you better keep our name out of your mouth there, buddy.
If it was like
I represent the wrestling fandom.
If it was a charity thing, I would absolutely do it, and I would do I'd grapple or I'd strike him. Or
so, dude, you know what?
For charity, whatever he wanted. But that's not even a thing that I'm throwing out there that like I want to do.
There's
you're bringing it up, so that's
there is a guy, a mutual friend of ours.
He's an old man, dude. He's an old man.
There's a mutual friend of ours, Kevin, the War Dog Apollo, who has his own wrestling promotion all the way in Sloatsburg, New York. Once again, it is American Coliseum Wrestling. We can make it happen. We call up a War Dog and say, hey, this is a wrestling match. We'll put buckets.
Only if Kevin books me to go over. Only if Kevin books me to go over.
Then call
I'm
him
a narcissist, dude. I gotta
just call him and go, hey,
I'm an egomaniac.
We have a match that will
put, brother.
We have a match that will put asses in seats. It is Phil Marks versus Dave Meltzer in a tuxedo street fight. There you go. Call right now. We make the call. You know what Kevin Apollo and I do. We'll make that call right now. Go, Kevin. Phil Marks versus Dave Meltzer in a tuxedo street fight match.
I would never bump for Meltzer. That's the only thing. If there was an art form, he's Van Gogh. So he called Ishii Van Gogh. That's so funny. You're so funny, Chris. Okay, so AEW Neckbeards says this angle would have made more sense to Dave if they just started fighting in no-selling Canadian destroyers. So Dave Meltzer starts talking about recently, he made a couple comments about how Kevin Owens, and the IWC is in an uproar about Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, basically saying, like, I don't like this feud because, or like this match or this build-up because Kevin Owens and him are just friends and they're just challenging each other. Because meanwhile, I think it's perfect. This is just like a little side, this is just like a side note, a side quest for Cody where it's not people beating him down and attacking him and swerving him and breaking his trust. It's just him challenging a dude, like for once, like just a match meanwhile, it's in Berlin where Gunther has the heat and all of that. I think this is the way, because Gunther's the focal point of this show. I think it's a smart idea to do. It's a short mini program, a few weeks. It plays, it's like a B story to the main A story stuff that's going on. I don't mind it whatsoever. And we could totally see like the bloodline just fuck it all up too, to where like Cody doesn't pin KO. Or like, here's the other thing too. KO's in his stage of his career where like what? He's going to go on these big world title runs again, like maybe one more, but he's just giving back. He's doing his thing. He's making lots of money. He wrestled Stone Cold at Mania. He's been the world champ. What the fuck else is he going to do? Didn't he wrestle Goldberg or something, dude? Like, like the dude is, I think he did, right? What did he wrestle Goldberg? Like the man, Kevin Owens he's done it all. I mean, it's time. He's just one of these guys where he's just over. He doesn't really need to ever do. He can just lose to LA Knight, help get him over more. Cody, help get him over more. That sort of thing. And it doesn't really hurt him in any way. I like this a lot. And then Ant Evans comments underneath here, who's a Dave Meltzer's friend, actually. But he's okay with people going hard at Meltzer. A friend of ours as well, friend of mine. And he's okay with people going hard at Meltzer. But he goes, to be honest, no one should sell a Canadian destroyer. Move makes 0 sense and relies 100% on the acrobatic cooperation of the opponent. Silly move. He's right. But Meltzer says, this was actually one of the weirdest angles I've ever seen. So, like, not weirder than, like, babyface Swerve invading Cribs and then becoming a babyface. Or, like, like, there's so many weird, goofy fucking storylines in AEW, or angles, rather, as Dave calls them. Angle, it was an angle show, it was an anglefish. But Dave goes, you should always be going for a championship. A guy offers you a championship match and you're going in there and turning it down. That is like, makes no sense. And I'll give him a bit of credit for that. It's true. But if you put it in the context of like how I explained it for Kevin Owens, where he's like, man, my friend's got the world title and he's like the best dude in the world, I'm going to go for that. But at the same time, Dave's a little right. Like, that's always the underlying thing of pro wrestling, is everyone's trying to win a championship in their divisions, right? So that's why when AEW just makes their whole shit about that, it's super boring, because we're like, well, we know that. Every sport is everyone trying to be the best. So, like, what about you makes you larger than life, you know? So anyways, though, Dave goes, you talk about something that makes no sense. This makes no sense. But like, you talk about something that makes no sense in compared to what? AEW? Like, the problem, Dave, is that WWE can get away with this a little more because they have so much good shit going on. So to focus on the one bad thing and really go hard on it, I know it's easy to do that, but in compared to what? Like, the shit we're clowning on AEW. That's what he's referring to when he goes, you talk about makes no sense. So makes no sense compared to all these shit stories in AEW where, for instance, they just had in a trios match, or they have coming up, right? It's fucking Dustin Rhodes, who's one of the 6-man ROH tag champs. Tonight on Collision, he's teaming up with, I fucking forget. God, someone tell me in the chat. So they have Dustin Rhodes, who just won the 6-man tag titles, teaming up with Sammy Guevara, who just returned to Ring of Honor, made his debut there. And on Collision tonight in AEW, they're teaming up for the tag titles, for the ROH tag titles, against Matt Bennett, or Mike Bennett, and fucking the other guy, Matt Taven, right? The Kingdom. So they have 1/3 of the Ring of Honor 6-man tag champs, Guevara, who saved Rhodes from an attack from the Kingdom, teaming up in a tag title match for the Ring of Honor tag titles on Collision. And it's like, why the fuck don't they have Roddy Strong in the Kingdom go against Dustin and the new team he just formed, who beat Bullet Club Gold for the 6-man tag titles? I know what I'm saying is so dumb and hard to follow, but I can follow it, but it's so fucking dumb and hurts my brain. But like, that makes no sense. And that's just like a one little thing. Whereas like, if you take like, what's the underlying story in WWE? Maybe like the Gable shit. Look how compelling that shit is. And he's going to really go out of his way to boo-boo on this, but not criticize what I just criticized about Collision, for instance. That's what drives me fucking insane. It's disingenuous. It's coping. It's him reaching and just grasping and trying to nitpick things about WWE, which we could do that. But that's just it. You have to nitpick WWE for the most part. There's nothing really that egregious going on in WWE. And I'm only comparing the two because that's what Dave's doing. And I hope you guys can follow what I was saying about the Ring of Honor stuff there. Like Dustin Rhodes just put together the Von Erich boys, a 6-man, and then they won the 6-man ROH tag titles from the Gun Clubs and Juice, right? In Ring of Honor. And then like 2 weeks later, literally, Guevara debuts for Ring of Honor, saves Dustin Rhodes from getting attacked from the Kingdom, and the Kingdom's a group of 3 or 4 guys, if I'm not mistaken. So what does Tony do? He books the Ring of Honor tag titles against one of the Ring of Honor 6-man tag champs and Guevara on AEW Collision for the ROH tag titles. Why the fuck isn't it a 6-man tag between the Kingdom? Meanwhile, he has Roddy Strong teaming with Takeshita and fucking whoever to fight Jay Briscoe and Kyle O'Reilly and shit over on Dynamite and Collision and shit. You guys know what I'm saying? Like, he has these factions, but they're not factioned up. Like, we can sit here and say, well, Karrion Kross's shit isn't that good, but at least he's in a stable that they keep a stable. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, at least they formed a stable and those guys teamed together. And it's not just like random nothing. So Dave is going to go, well, that doesn't make sense. Meanwhile, he's fucking rubbing his jeans right now. I'm going to say something way worse. He's rubbing himself right now watching Collision, watching shit that makes no sense, not saying anything about it, about to give it 4 stars. Sorry,
I just want to throw this out there. I just want to throw this out. I have already run the idea of a slap fight between you and Meltzer, you, Kevin. He has agreed to it. We're just going to get Meltzer involved. I've said that you will do it for charity.
Yes.
This needs to happen. I'm telling
An
you.
actual, like a power slap match?
Yes!
He would never do that, and I wouldn't hit an old man, but like I would do it.
You are raging. I can sense the rage.
But he wouldn't do that,
There
and,
is like
and I wouldn't hit an old
burning
man.
rage
That's
every
fucked
time.
up. That's fucked up.
All we do is mention Meltzer, and just the anger comes out of you. You turn from this sweet Canadian to this angry guy, just like, I need to rage. So let's do it.
And according to the chat, they won the tag belts. So Dustin won the fucking tag belts? Are you kidding me, man? This shit. Oh my God. Oh,
This is why we go to Dave. Go, look, power slap. We'll give you like puffy gloves. So this way it doesn't hurt too much, but you can get your rage. We'll do it for charity. It'll work.
So Meltzer continues on to say, this is actually one of the weirdest angles I've ever seen. You should always be going for a championship. A guy offers you a bet. Oh, we read that one. Sorry, bookmarked it twice. He's just dumb in two ways, right? So moving along here. I mean, God, Dave, yeah, he just irked the shit out of me. This is a crazy one. So in response, we're talking about ratings to this week's WWE NXT ratings. Dave Meltzer has said that WWE should have kept the NXT championship on Trick Williams, who has so much more charisma than potential number 1 contender Joe Hendry. Here's my whole thing. Ready? The North, Josh Alexander has beef with Joe Hendry on TNA right now. Josh Alexander has been backstage at WWE's and stuff. We covered it on the show. I think we're getting a heel North reunion, possibly in WWE, adding even more to the tag division. As I was telling you guys, they're fleshing out this tag roster. They just showed Ethan Page on SmackDown with the NXT title. He didn't get a big reaction, but I think they're fast-tracking Ethan Page to the main roster, and that's why they gave him this NXT title run fairly quickly. But I also... I do agree with Dave here. I think Trick has more charisma, and then him losing to Dunn, I think, hurts him worse than losing the belt. I think him losing to Page, he could get it back, and the pop would be huge, and because Trick should be the head of that. You know, the ratings reflect that as well. But Dave Meltzer says, I'm not saying this is the reason for this week's NXT ratings, but I don't think beating Trick Williams was a smart idea. Beating him with Pete Dunne wasn't a smart idea, because I think he was the heart and soul, the biggest draw they had, and now he's just a guy. No, he's not just a guy, Dave. You just wrote him off, but you're willing to blow Wheeler Yuta? Nah, dude, he's not just a guy, but he will be if they don't get him back in that title picture. I agree, but I think there's fast tracking Ethan Page to the main roster, and he'll drop that belt back to Trick, and I think we see a North reunion of some sort, involving Trick and Hendry versus the North. But anyways, they seem to be trying to make Joe Hendry the guy, and Joe Hendry has something, but I think Trick Williams has so much more charisma for long term, and he's the guy they were building for a long time. It's true, Dave, it's true, but you got to stack some chips on this Hendry guy too, because that's what it is. It's like going to be Hendry and Trick versus the North, and then Hendry won't win the NXT title, but then he'll go to TNA and win that TNA title for them, and then fucking like Trick will get his belt back, and then I think we see the North go main roster, dude. I'm telling you.
Well, wait a minute. I mean, first they have to sign Josh Alexander.
No, they don't need to. They can leave him in TNA and then just let him do what they're doing with Hendry and Jordan Grace, because they have these weird deals worked out with them where
they have deals that they can appear for, on appearance for NXT, but for the main roster, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, it would be the same thing though, because they have a deal with Hendry where he can use the PC all he wants. He can use their facilities PC. All he wants. Right. But no. But listen, when he's done, when his TNA deal's up, he can't go sign anywhere else major other than WWE. But until then, he can go work any indies wherever he wants. He just can't go to AEW, and then he can use their facilities as long as they'll have them. Same with Jordan Grace. So when her deal's up, she can go and she just can't sign with any major other than WWE. That's for me poking around. That's how I understand these deals are worked out. So they could do the same thing with Josh. They could bring him in and go main roster. We'll pay you per appearance. You have full access.
We're not even sure we're going to do that yet, because remember they have too much talent. They can barely get people on the main roster who are already on the main roster. I mean, we're looking around going, holy crap. I mean, there's weeks where we don't even see like Bianca Belair and Jade because, well, tag titles aren't there. We got to get, Blair Davenport versus Naomi. I mean, there's just not enough room. There's purely not enough room. The poor Street Profits times can't get enough room. The only time this week we saw the two guys you like, Pretty Deadly. They came out, they did a really cheesy song and dance. Then they get their ass whooped, which basically by Misha, which might as well just show you what WWE thinks of certain tag teams. Like, yes, you got your ass whooped by a woman in a kendo stick. Yeah, you ever thought that happened to him?
Oh man,
no. So just stop it. The only thing, you know what? There's a better chance right now of you and Meltzer in a wrestling match.
Oh my God, this guy won't let that shit go.
Versus any WWE tag teams headlining a WrestleMania main event.
I don't think any like a tag team match did headline WrestleMania this past WrestleMania. Also headlined the first ever WrestleMania, but
not an established tag team like, oh yes, we're throwing together a bunch of singles here, guys.
But that could happen one day. But we don't know yet. I'm not saying that would ever happen. I like when it's a big singles for the world pulled up. But just my last thoughts on this Joe Hendry, Josh Alexander stuff. I just see the stories interweaving because you got Paige has heat with Hendry on NXT, and then Alexander has heat with Hendry over on TNA, and it just makes sense that that's what they're going to. I mean, what else I don't know. Why wouldn't it happen? Why wouldn't they cross over? And
because for right now, and
they don't even need to stay a tag team. They can stay singles, but they could just reunite like one night for like a big NXT show against Trick and Joe, and then the stipulation could be if Trick and Joe win, then Trick and Joe get respective title shots or something, because I don't know. I see Josh taking that belt off Nemeth just in TNA. I don't know if you guys are following TNA, but I fucking love TNA. So anyways, moving along here, we're talking about the stadium show. Dave Meltzer on AEW's reported plans to host a stadium show in Australia in 2025. That's a big undertaking, an Australia show. I don't know if they'd sell out a major arena in Sydney or Melbourne. Pardon me, I'm saying Cena. Are you sure about that? So, but I think they would do very well. WCW in 2000, when they were dead, still did good numbers in Australia just because of the scarcity and everything like that. I think first time and they'd do well. I think first time in, they do well. The idea of going to a stadium, man, they don't have the viewership. They don't have the popularity they do in the UK. Yeah, I agree. I think this is desperate times for AEW. I think Tony's hotshot book in the stadiums because this is it. Like, and then we'll talk about what he said later, but they're doing All In Texas. And then he's like, we're going back to London, but it's not a Wembley show and it's not All In. He clarified that. So they're going to go back to London to just like do what, a Full Gear or something. They're done there. WWE cooked them. Literally, WWE cooked them, and they're not running Wembley anymore. This will be their last Wembley show. So it is kind of sad, but we'll get into the IWC sickos blaming WWE and calling them bullies and all of that in a bit. But I don't know. Dave goes on to say, WWE pulled off 3 stadium shows. They were all successful. UFC pulled off stadium shows there. I don't know. I'm skeptical of it. But then you put over WWE. Like, why can't you say, yeah, because they're actually over there? Maybe they'll pull it off because WWE pulled off somehow because they're huge there. UFC somehow pulled it off because they're huge there, bro. They have a bunch of fucking champions. They have a bunch of fighters from there. They spent a long time building and getting this market bigger and bigger. Fuck Dave. AEW spent no time building this market. They're just hotshot booking goofs, man. And Tony's just doing this thinking he'll match WWE. We'll show them. And then a stadium show in Texas. He can't even sell at the eSport arena in fucking Texas. And he's going to do a stadium show there? How's that going to work? What do you think they sell? What match? Chris Connor, you tell me, what matches could AEW do in 2025 to pull off a stadium show in Texas and have it sell 40,000 tickets? And they're not even going to, they're going to sell maybe, I don't even think they'll sell 20 because what match can they do to pull that off? I want to hear your thoughts, Chris Connor. What match can they do in Australia? What match can AEW do in fucking Texas to draw?
I also don't know. I mean, look, my argument is, I've made this, are we even sure that they're going to get their TV deal renewed? I mean, it's August 17th. Still haven't heard word yet. Oh, yeah, we're getting renewed. Yeah, the TV deal is signed. It's like it was supposed to be, okay, well, they're going to get signed like last year. Didn't get signed. We're going to get signed by the March. No, it hasn't been signed by March. Oh, good. They'll get done by the end of the Olympics. Well, the Olympics are done. And it's like, well, when? And I keep arguing with people. It's like, you look at most sports deals that get, renewed, and they're usually renewed or they're signed a year or more in advance. Like WWE did, look when they signed their Netflix deal. It was the beginning of the year. And they weren't even, they were basically still had a full year left of running on Monday nights on USA Network. Same thing with Fox. They basically switched. Oh, yeah, we're, December of last year, they announced, yes, we are going to, SmackDown is getting brought to the USA Network. This is December of last year.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you're looking at all this stuff, and it's like, the NBA deal just got closed this past, month. And that doesn't even end until the end of 2025. It's like, at some point, when do we go? Well, this is bad. This is really, you're really right. Bad.
For $2 says, make Jeff Jarrett GM, head of creative. Yeah, I'm going to do this like because, guys, I want to start bringing you guys like some more scripted kind of content too, where I, get my friends from the IWC and we sort of break down like, okay, how the fuck are we going to save AEW? Let's say we had to do it right now. So I'm going to do like a little couple videos like that. One of which is how to legitimately save AEW. I know other people do it, but have made videos like that. But I think legitimately I would have good ideas. One of which is, honestly, yes, like Tony, step back. If you're going to tease and try and bring Shane McMahon in, fucking team him up with Jeff Jarrett. You know what I mean? And let them just run the creative or run the booking side of all of it. Like, you have to do something drastically different than what you're doing now. I'm not saying that's the best idea, but if he's going to sit there and tease Shane McMahon and the fans are going to go, we would love Shane McMahon. Okay, you give the reins to him and Jeff Jarrett, or you like make them GMs of separate shows and let them do the creative while you take a step back. I would do it. I would bring in an Eric Bischoff and these guys who've been there and done that before. You know, I'm not saying pull together Vince Russo and do the old TNA committee, but I'm not saying bring Hulk Hogan in. But yes, dude, give Jeff Jarrett or someone at least somewhat competent the reins. If you're going to tease Shane McMahon, if you're going to bring him in any way, don't have him on TV. Just have him behind the fucking scenes or have him on TV as the commissioner or something, but completely render the creative over to him and other people. Like, if you're going to have these committees, have one that makes fucking sense, that disagree with each other and will challenge each other creatively. That's how you make the best art. What say you, Chris Connor? No Jeff Jarrett in creative or what?
Yeah, because Jarrett wants to wrestle. So until he decides I'm going to hang it up, I would not put any active wrestler. I wouldn't put Bryan Danielson.
I agree with that, Yeah, I don't know, man. Meltzer's even skeptical, though, if they can pull it off, and I don't blame him. So Meltzer, though, being skeptical about things, the Young Bucks being absent from AEW TV the past couple weeks had long been scheduled as time off to sell the injuries from Blood and Guts. But then they were on TV after Blood and Guts, so no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't at all. They were on TV after Blood and Guts, not selling shit. And then Meltzer goes, despite their new contracts calling for less dates. So they re-signed new NBA-level deals. WWE didn't want them at all, or we would have heard, like, the bit of... And their executives, they get NBA-level 7-figure fucking deals, and they get even less dates. Even though they're the shits and they fucking destroy the ratings when they're on television, which we're going to get into in our AEW news. So Meltzer's saying they won't be on every Dynamite between now and the end of the year. You have Wembley coming up, your biggest show, and they're in a random 3-way tag match. No payoff to them attacking Tony Khan, nothing. They're in a random 3-way tag match wrestling FTR again. They're doing less dates, apparently, to sell injuries that they were selling on TV already right before All In. And this is their I don't understand. Like, this is all so dumb. Tony's giving them even more money. Oh my God, this is great. The Young Bucks, they're amazing.
Best guys, Tony Khan.
A huge fail, man. Just terrible. And yeah, fuck these guys. They drain your drain your ratings. They deplete them. They make people turn the show off. They're not good. They've been exposed. They're not good EVPs either, clearly. And you're giving them NBA level deals again to have less dates, which it's like good for the show, but then they're your tag champs, and then it's leading up to All In, and they attacked you, and the big payoff was your Blood and Guts TV show. It wasn't where Jay Briscoe randomly hit one of the Bucks. I mean, Jack Perry with a chair, with a headshot, chair shot, and instead of using that heat, like now it's like Darby versus Jack Perry and the Bucks against FTR and the Acclaimed in a 3-way tag match randomly at the second All In when they wrestled FTR already. This shit is awful. This shit is terrible. I don't know what to tell you guys. All In is going to be one of the greatest PWT live shows ever. Yeah, man. Your thoughts on the Bucks taking time off, dude, right before All In?
This is the perks of when you're the executive vice president of a company, and the owner loves being your buddy. And Dave Meltzer is basically like the godson of one of their kids, or he's a perks, so they can do what they want. If the company goes under, well, screw it. They're still getting paid. They're gonna, they should have moved on. But hashtag Tony picked the wrong guy. He should have backed Cody instead of the Bucks. But this is where we're at, and unfortunately, they're stuck with the Bucks. And it's just, as I said, this AEW needs like a hard reset, and I don't know if there's enough time for that. I'm convinced WBD could just go at the end of the year go, hard pass.
Yeah. When Cody was in AEW, I always pictured it like, man, in 5 years, he's going to be it's going to be a true challenger. Like, it's going to be Starrcade. Like, Cody's going to do what his dad did. He's going to be his dad, but in a new company with truly some of the best and hot. They were hot wrestlers, man, at that time. Kenny Omega and them and the Bucks and stuff. And I was like, man, these guys won't be selfish. It won't just be a shit show. We're going to see some of the best talent in the world. But yeah, when I started seeing signs of like just hiring all their friends, and then I don't know, you just slowly saw it happening. If you're an objective thinker like myself, I was like, no, this is the opposite of what we said it was going to be or thought it was going to be. And I thought Cody would be the one to be able to straighten it all out. And no, he just left. So that's how bad it is. You're like, damn, I thought he was going to be the one to lead the charge and like recreate it. Like, dude, one day they'll have like their Starcade and type show, and it'll go head to head, and like they'll do the damn thing. Because Dusty, man, he made a run in Florida and all that shit. Like he blew up territories, man. And I was like, Cody's about to do it, you know? And nah, man, he had to leave, and then he just went and did it for WWE. He just added on top of the, WWE's already surging, and he just came and like transformed them into Super Saiyan Blue and shit. That's all he did, George Captor for $5 says one more. Now it's coming out slowly that many of the AEW talents have limited dates on their contracts. Yep, we are talking about it, George. Thank you so much. Let me give you a round of applause, buddy. Thank you so much for the support of the show, being here. Yeah, so that's the other thing. A lot of these talents have limited dates. A lot of them always were like Slim J or whatever that guy's name was. He was signed to AEW Ring of Honor as like he couldn't wrestle anywhere else. And they just paid him per like appearance, so he signed to AEW, but it's like he's actually hurting. So there's a lot of cases like that too. And I'm not saying the boys are hurting, but what I'm saying is that a lot of people, because it's all private, are signed to Tony's not above doing like these different, like WWE, it's pretty standard. We kind of know when people's deals come up, and then they are signed for like 5 years or 3 years or 7 years or whatever. Tony is not. He'll do like all different types of deals for different people. Everyone's special, That's why it's Mickey Mouse, dude. But everything's great. It's a magical, wonderful ride. That's why all these deals just kind of come up at these random times as well. At WWE, you always know kind of when the cuts are coming, when a handful. You notice WWE, there's a bunch of deals coming up kind of at the same time. With Tony Khan, it's not so much like that. It's very unique for a lot of different people. But of course, like, how do you have the structure the way WWE does? But as far as the limited dates, though, like as in their time's almost up. Yeah, apparently, was it you, Chris Connor? It was someone telling me a while back on the show. You're going to see it with all these AEW deals coming up, and we're just seeing more and more. They're coming up, and they're testing the waters. Like even Garcia, who clearly still signed with AEW, they're trying to put that bidding war shit on him. You can tell, like they're trying to, even MJF tried to give him that rub, like, oh, who knows where Garcia is going to go. It's like clearly he's staying with AEW, but they want to build that allure and try and work people into getting invested in Garcia. Like, I know that's what they were trying to do with that Garcia shit, was get WWE fans and the WWE drones to start going, oh man, Garcia would be so good in NXT, but no, we didn't do that. I tried and they let me down. I was so optimistic like 4 weeks ago, still about AEW, trying my best, put my fucking foot in my mouth because of it. And yeah, don't be surprised if we see more people going to WWE and TNA. And speaking of which, I pray to God Bobby Lashley doesn't go to AEW and he goes to fucking TNA. But we'll talk about all that later because there's news on that. But thank you, George Capture. You're the man. Appreciate that. Andre Adams for $2 says Jack Perry built like wet toilet paper.